So we're interested in reducing the market share of multinational corporations.
Yeah.
Is that something that's important to you, and why?
Yes, it is. And the reason why is first of all, there's something about the size of things. When things get to, I think it was Theodore Roszak that said, the problem with the world is the bigness of things. And when things get to a certain size, kind of other things happen. It's like, I'm sure most of the people in ExxonMobil are really actually quite nice people.
Yeah.
But the corporation itself is acting in a really bullying manner. It has done for decades. So there's something about accountability, responsibility, creating organisations which are not too big to fail, creating a connection. I mean, one of the things that I love about local food is I can actually go and chat to the people that are growing it, and I can have a look.
Yeah, to know the name of the people who produce your food is fantastic.
Yeah, and I think if something's happening on the other side of the world, well, you've got no way of knowing, no real way of knowing. Mm-hmm. You might have indicators and things on the label and so on, but it's very hard to tell. You can't kind of pop into the local sweatshop and just say, let's see how your Bangladeshi workers are treated.
I think this scale thing applies.
The t-shirt, that looks good.
Yeah, I think the scale thing applies even to the co-op group. If you walk into if you walk into your local co-op store, the staff don't really understand that they're working for a co-op. Most of them.
Yeah. So there's a scale issue. There's a responsibility and accountability issue. I don't think that all corporations are evil, and there might be a role for some in the future. But on the whole, I think most stuff that we need can be done much more, not necessarily locally, it might be nationally. The big issue is actually about equity and the fact that corporations essentially mean that shareholders can make large profits.
Yeah.
And the workers themselves don't really often get that. And it's, I think Ed Mayo, in his talk to the Permaculture Convergence in September, said something along the lines of the worker goes up in the car, works in the car park, and he kind of sees the boss getting out with his Lamborghini. He says, "Oh," I said, I like your Lamborghini. He says, "Yeah, it's lovely. And if you work hard next year, I can get another one." And it's basically, there's something. It feels like, well, actually, there's another way of sharing the surplus. And this is the fundamental thing about permaculture is earth care, people care. This third ethic is really key, actually. Everyone gets earth care, everyone gets people care. But the fair shares bit, part of that, setting limits to consumption and population, redistributing surplus. Redistributing surplus is so we can do more earth care and more people care. So it's like the economic motor, or engine that gets more, or flow system, which gets more energy into the earth care and more people care. So it's the redistributing surplus, which is key. And I think that's an aspect of cooperatives which probably could be more interestingly, could be examined further. Yeah. I think it's something about how profits are shared. I mean, at the moment, for example, we've got a water industry, which takes out roughly 1.6 billion a year of profit into shareholder hands, whether they're UK shareholders or Australian pension funds or German state or whatever it might be. Tax havens in Cayman Islands, who knows? If we were to deprivatise the water industry, and say when I turn on my tap, I was getting water from the West Yorkshire Water Co-operative, and that West Yorkshire Water Co-operative was basically still charging for the service, but the workers were getting a fairer share of the work that they were doing, and the surplus was then put back into ecological restoration of West Yorkshire. We could create a beautiful set of cycles where workers were better treated, where our shared kind of surplus from the water, our kind of multi-stakeholder cooperative with every stakeholder, every person that's got a tap being a stakeholder, us then redistributing our surplus income into the restoration of the ecological system, which is generating water in the first place. All those things become possible when it's not a corporation.
Yeah.
Because
that's
in a corporation, the surplus has to go to the shareholder.
Yeah. Legally.
When it's not a corporation, we can create all sorts of imaginative ways to redistribute that wealth.
Yeah.
And if we can redistribute that wealth to earth care and people care, then we're fixing the planet.